What does Make America Great Again mean to you? Does it mean anything anymore?
Yeah, something Trump used in order to get elected.
This is Kraig Moss. Throughout the 2016 presidential campaign, he followed then-candidate Trump on the trail, literally singing his praises.
Well, headed on down the road, calling Trump for president. Then now, oh, heavenly highway, please don't forget to vote. Donald Trump for president. Donald J. Trump for president.
Here's my Trump CD. And I was in a hurry to get this thing done. I wrote the original Trump Train song. And there's a song on here called Build a Wall. America's Choice, Save Our Nation.
Kraig followed Trump to 45 rallies, supporting him all along. But since then, his support has waned. We met up with him in his trailer in upstate New York, in one of the only counties in New York where Trump got over 60% of the vote.
Make America Great Again means to me, well, it'd be great if I could get my son back.
Kraig says his son Rob struggled with heroin and opioid addiction for years. Rob died from an overdose in 2014.
I called out his name, but he didn't answer. So at that point in time, I went right in his bedroom. That's when I found my son, not breathing, in his bed with a book on his chest like he'd just finished reading it. And that was pretty much the end of that portion of my life. This is something my son wrote to me. It says, I love my whole family with my whole heart. If you're finding this, I'm either dead or in jail. I just didn't want to deal with my life and bullshit anymore. Later. Love always. And he signed it, Rob, and then he didn't like the way he did it, so he signed it again, neatly.
Kraig is from an area that's been particularly stricken by the opioid crisis. 2 years after his son's death, Kraig found something that he thought could help other parents avoid the pain he was forced to go through.
And this is what started it all. This portrait was in a warehouse. There it was, and what a bizarre thing to see this 8-foot by 15-foot painting. It was good. Actually, it was very detailed. You can imagine 8-foot by 15-foot of this. That's the name of the painting, Unafraid and Unashamed.
That portrait had such an effect on Kraig, he followed its painter to Iowa for a Trump rally.
It was in Urbandale, Iowa, January 15th, 2016. And I was right up front.
Any questions? Go ahead.
Raised my hand, and I asked him if he became president, what would he do to combat the ongoing heroin epidemic? And by that time, I was crying, because it was very emotional for me. You gotta understand, this is just shy of 2 years from the date my son Rob died.
It's a tough deal. Come on. That's a tough deal.
He's very compassionate. He came out very convincing, came out from behind the podium to address my question.
And he's a great father. I can see it. And your son is proud of you. Your son is proud of you.
You know, he said he was going to help with developing rehab centers and getting more rehab centers, more treatment centers through health care. He understands that, you know, that there's a big problem, and it was top on his list to tackle.
It's tough stuff. It's tough stuff. And it could be stopped.
That one interaction led to Kraig's journey on the campaign trail.
I did enjoy meeting the people on the trail, and I really enjoyed because I thought I was on the right path and doing the right thing. What he talked about, the opioid crisis, and wanting to tackle that, it was what kept us going. It was kept me going. And as I met these people, a lot of people at the rallies that were there for the same reason. You know, they'd lost their son or daughter. It's the only thing that I do that gives me a purpose is when I can talk to people who've lost their loved ones and tell them how I deal with it. It doesn't go away.
But then, the first health care bill of the Trump administration was released. It never passed, but it was set to repeal and replace Obamacare. Kraig said it didn't dedicate nearly enough to the opioid crisis, no matter what Trump had promised a crying father just months earlier.
That's when I first realized this is who he was. He didn't care about opioid addiction. He didn't care about health care.
Kraig thought back to the first moment he met Trump.
Candidate Trump consoles a father who lost son to heroin. There's headlines everywhere. It helped him tremendously. Exploiting my personal story and trying to make the American people think that he actually cares about this issue.
You take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, okay? It's very cool. I'll bet he was a great boy. Thank you, man.
That's probably why he said thank you, because he knew that was going to help him. I didn't even have to think about it. I just said, you know what? I can't believe these treatment centers are getting closed down, rehab center closed down. Anything that had Obama stamped on it is getting knocked out, good or bad. Anything that had Obama, oh, is it Obama? Oh, is it good? Well, we'll redo it. We'll call it Trump care. It just doesn't seem that Mr. Trump is so passionate about the fight against the opioid crisis because he's not letting loose of the money. He's cutting money from funding that's already there that's helping the opioid crisis. How else was he going to give all these tax credits? By cutting government subsidies, just cutting them out. And he's changed so many times. He'll change from one city to another. I went to 45 rallies. And the truth of the matter is, the president is like any other politician. He will look at somebody's eyes, and he's very charismatic, and he will tell them what they want to hear so that they can jump on his bandwagon and vote for him. But in reality, you look at what he's gotten done, and everything he's been trying to do has just failed.
Kraig says he was brought to Trump by grief over the opioid crisis, but that obviously wasn't the only issue raised on the campaign trail.
When you were traveling with the campaign, how did you feel when he said things about the Muslim community and the immigrant community?
Oh, let me tell you something. Comments like that, we want to ban the Muslims? These are the things that were very, very difficult to turn your head on. I did not agree with any of that at all. Those are things that just really turned me off. The negative comments, the comments about all immigrants are drug dealers, rapists, murderers, and there might be a few. He knows there's a very high percentage of Americans that are racist. And, whether it be against Latino, it doesn't matter, against a religion, against a color. But he got them. I talk about Trump supporters, the diehard Trump supporters. They will stop at nothing. They treat him like they're a losing football team. No matter what he does, no matter what he fails at, it doesn't matter. That's their guy. I was there for the opioid crisis. I was there for his stance on that. I believed him. As far as him parading these other people on stage and whatnot, it didn't matter what he did as long as the money was going to be there. And that's what it all comes down to. When I think about the policies that could have been put in place that could help people like my son, first of all, I guess it would be to keep what was working. Not to shut down the places that were already in place because they had Obama on them. What would have helped my son would be to have centers that were set up for kids who have problems. My son would have been the leader of that. My son worked on this little fill right here with the, with the little dozer, and he's driven that truck.
Kraig may have lost his faith in the president, but he hasn't lost faith in the political process as a whole. Who does he think can attract voters like him in 2020?
Addiction within the heroin and opioids has no boundaries, and it gets into lower class, middle class, upper class. It's just there. There's one person that really is compassionate about the people, and that is Senator Elizabeth Warren. I want to be on her team so bad.
And while he may be done with Trump, he isn't done with music. This is his most recent song, written from letters he had from his son.
He was all that I had lived for. He's everything I dreamed. He was hide and seek and make believe. He was cat and hook, notching trees. God showed me he's all that I need. Oh, and memories of these. cherished memories. Cherished memories. Well, it's about all a man has, you know, when he's lost everything he wanted, his memories. But life goes on. And I've got a Jeep in the creek I gotta get out.